If you look at the Sahara Desert from outer space, something terrifying looks right back at you. This is the Richat Structure, famously known as the Eye of the Sahara, a mysterious 28-mile-wide concentric ring that science still struggles to explain. For decades, experts claimed it was just a natural volcanic dome. But open up the ancient texts of Plato, and you'll find a chilling coincidence. The dimensions, the rings, and the location match the legendary lost city of Atlantis almost perfectly. Welcome to this explainer, where we're venturing right into the middle of the desert to uncover if this is just a giant rock formation or literally the ruins of the world's most famous vanished civilization. You know, this mysterious structure in Mauritania just stares right back up at us from the earth. I mean, it is so vast and so deeply etched into the landscape, it almost feels intentional. It's like this monumental landmark hiding in plain sight amid one of the most unforgiving, barren environments on the planet. Okay, let's dive into this. 28 miles. That is the staggering width of this whole thing. It's a massive series of concentric rings that, honestly, science still struggles to fully explain even today. And because of that massive scale, well, for thousands of years, nomadic tribes and travelers who walked directly across it had absolutely no idea they were traversing a giant geometric bullseye. You literally have to be up in the sky to even comprehend it. So we've got to ask the big question here. Is this site just a really weird geological quirk shaped by time? Or could it be something much more complex, like the actual ruins of a vanished civilization? We're going to weigh the evidence today, looking at both the hard geological data and the ancient texts, to try and wrap our heads around what this awe-inspiring formation actually is. Section 1. The Eye from Space, a Cosmic Discovery. To really get why we're so fascinated by this site today, we kind of have to rewind to the early days of human spaceflight. When the first space-age pioneers looked down at Africa from orbit, they were completely baffled by what they saw. Just picture it. In a sea of endless chaotic sand dunes in Mauritania, there's suddenly this giant, perfectly formed target. Early astronauts initially thought, okay, that's got to be a massive impact crater from a meteor, right? Because what else could create such giant, perfectly concentric rings out of nowhere? It quickly became an absolute landmark for space crews, but the sheer precision and scale of those rings just left scientists completely scratching their heads. Section 2. The Atlantis Blueprint, Plato's Ancient Warning. Now let's pivot from the space age all the way back to antiquity. Now what's really interesting about this is Plato's incredibly precise description of the legendary lost city of Atlantis. See, in his ancient texts, Plato didn't just casually describe a generic run-of-the-mill city. No, he laid out a very specific architectural blueprint. He described Atlantis as being built out of alternating concentric rings of water and land. And he also specifically noted that this ringed city had an opening that led directly to the south. When you take Plato's ancient blueprint and place it side by side with the physical geography of the Richat Structure, well, the parallels are honestly kind of striking. It's like a giant puzzle coming together. Plato's concentric rings of water and land, they perfectly mirror the alternating ridges and valleys of the eye. The massive dimensions, they align perfectly with the site's 28-mile diameter. And crucially, this is the crazy part, if you look at a topographical map of the Eye of the Sahara, there's a distinct natural opening right on its southern edge, which is exactly where Plato said the entrance to Atlantis was. Section 3. The Geological Verdict, Mainstream Science. Now, of course, while the whole Atlantis theory is captivating, and it really is, there is a very robust mainstream scientific counterweight here. Geologists propose that the eye is actually the result of a process known as hydrothermal collapse. Essentially, this is a geological process where deep volcanic activity pushes the Earth's crust upward, creating a massive dome. Then, over immense periods of time, the structure collapses back in on itself, and the different layers of rock erode at different speeds, leaving behind those circular ridges we see today. Let's move to and see how this builds step by step. Step 1. Millions of years ago, intense magma uplift pushes the bedrock up. Think of it like a giant subterranean pimple, basically a massive dome. Step 2. The magma recedes, which causes a hydrothermal collapse, where the center of that dome just sinks right back down. Step 3. Imagine taking an onion and slicing the top third off. That's what happened here. Millennia of fierce Saharan wind erosion sheared the top right off this collapsed dome, perfectly exposing those flat, concentric rings of different rock layers to the sky. It's a pretty brilliant and entirely natural explanation for the whole shebang. Section 4. Oceans in the Desert, the Impossible Evidence. But just when you think geology has neatly closed the book on this mystery, the site throws a massive curveball. Today, the eye sits in a completely barren, bone-dry desert. But what lies beneath that sand tells a vastly different story about the region's past. The Sahara wasn't always a wasteland. Evidence strongly suggests it was once a lush, vibrant environment, teeming with life and, importantly, flowing with water. And this brilliantly illustrates the real desert mystery at the heart of the eye. Researchers exploring the dry, rocky rings of the Richat Structure have actually found the undeniable presence of ancient sea fossils. Even more astonishing, they've unearthed ancient freshwater tools created by early humans, just sitting right there in the middle of an area that is today completely devoid of water. I mean, this proves that not only was this giant ringed structure once submerged or surrounded by water, but it was also actively inhabited or utilized by humans during that lush period. Section 5. The Final Verdict. History's Greatest Mystery. As we bring our explainer to a close, we're really left standing between two incredible possibilities. So the crucial point is, we have two fiercely competing explanations laid out side by side, and neither is easy to dismiss. On one hand, the mainstream science view tells us this is a miraculous, purely natural wonder, a rare hydrothermal collapse sheared flat by millions of years of wind erosion, exposing a massive geological bullseye. On the other hand, the ancient cataclysm theory points to that uncanny alignment with Plato's texts, the massive concentric rings, the southern opening, and that undeniable evidence of water and human tools, all suggesting these might just be the ruins of a highly advanced vanished civilization. So, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this provocative thought. When we look down from space at the unblinking eye of the Sahara, are we simply admiring a geological marvel carved by time, wind, and magma? Or is it possible that underneath the shifting sands of Mauritania, our history books missed a massive ancient civilization? It is a mystery that just continues to stare right back at us. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and as always, keep questioning what you know.